Why did Taehyung disappear at Jungkook's first important moment after enlistment? Is this a signal of a rupture of relations? When Jungkook premiered in LA in his most anticipated live broadcast, precisely the most awaited figure, Taehyung, was nowhere to be seen. They were in the same town together. What exactly happened? Army shocked. Taehyung didn't join Jungkook's live broadcast while together in LA. What's wrong? Los Angeles that night. The summer air is noticeably warmer than usual. The world is waiting, breathing in silence, hoping to see one of the most iconic duos from BTS, Jungkook and Taehyung, reunite on screen. But when the Jungkook is live, notification lights up on the phones of millions of armies around the world. That's exactly what it looks like alone. Only Jungkook. There's no Taehyung. There is no special smile V. There was no joke between the two old friends. Only a deep silence, and immediate questions flooded the commentary room. Where's Taehyung? Why didn't he show up? Aren't they in LA together? What really happened behind the scenes of Jungkook's first live broadcast after serving in the army with Jimin? Why is this moment, which should be a warm and unifying comeback event, actually causing a worrying rift? Are they really in Los Angeles? Or are they actually in two different worlds, emotionally? All these questions can't just be silenced. Especially after Jungkook was seen opening the broadcast with an enthusiastic face, sitting in front of a high-quality microphone that reflected his seriousness in returning to work. The sound is clear. The choice of songs was touching. Justin Bieber's Changes, a song that talks about growth, change, and emotional distance. The song was played shortly after he greeted his fans. Not a BTS song, not even his solo song. But the song in silence seems to convey something deeper. Something that has not been said. Is that a coincidence? Or is there a hidden message? One fact that has been confirmed. Taehyung was also in Los Angeles at the same time. In fact, some fans testified to having seen him leave a restaurant in the Beverly Hills area just hours before Jungkook began his live broadcast. But strangely, there was no interaction, no selfie, no shadowy presence of V in that broadcast. Though the two are known to often perform together while abroad, especially in cities like LA, which is a historic place in BTS's career journey, the broadcast became an early symbol of Jungkook's rise after his military tenure. He mentioned solo music projects, hinted at international collaborations, and even discussed Justin Bieber's latest album, Swag, which was released earlier this year and has dominated the global charts. Jungkook, in a calm yet meaningful style, discusses how Bieber became his inspiration in exploring new genres. But in that long conversation, not once was Taehyung's name mentioned. Not even when fans flooded the comments with questions about him. Isn't that weird? Jungkook has always been known to be open with the army. He didn't even hesitate to reply to idle questions in the comments. This time, however, he chose silence. And shut it up, it hurts. Even more heart-rending for the army was the fact that a few days before the broadcast, Taehyung had posted a short Instagram story, a picture of the night sky with the quote, "Sometimes we have to be apart, even if we don't want to be." There is no context. No explanation. But now it all feels like pieces of a puzzle that come together on their OW, and is it a form of code? Is there something going on between the two? A number of armies speculated that there may have been a conversation or emotional conflict between Jungkook and Taehyung before the broadcast. Some suspect that this has something to do with Jungkook's decision to return with a very intense solo format, without involving other members, even just to say hello together on the broadcast. BTS has just announced that they will be reuniting fully in the spring of 2026, with a new album and world tour already in the works. Why didn't Taehyung welcome back one of his closest friends to the entertainment world? Is there pressure from the agency? Or is it just that the difference in vision and career direction is beginning to be clearly visible between them? Meanwhile, some sources in the fan community claimed that Taehyung was actually scheduled to appear on the broadcast, but canceled it at the last minute. There's no obvious reason. There is no clarification. Only rumors continued to grow, triggering an explosion of emotion among ARMY, who felt they were missing a historic moment between two of BTS's most beloved members. Some have even begun to re-uncover old moments behind the scenes, videos, live broadcasts, and clips of concerts to look for signs that perhaps, all along, some tension was hidden. Are we too caught up in their warmth in front of the camera? Are we neglecting to see the small changes that slowly make up the distance? One thing is for sure, Taehyung's absence is not just a matter of physical absence. This is a symbol that something has not yet been revealed. It may be a wound, it may be a decision, it may simply be that time has not healed, but in the midst of this chaos of speculation, Jungkook remains professional. It remains to sing. He kept smiling. It remains to show his gratitude to the ARMY who welcomed him back with great love. But the smile was felt different, more quiet, deeper. And when the broadcast was over, all that was left were the confused, sad, and questioning voices of the fans' comments. Why isn't V there? Did they quarrel? Is this the end of the togetherness we know? ARMY, once again, stands at the intersection of love, hope, and worry. Because for them, BTS is not just a music group. BTS is family. And when one member looks away both physically and emotionally, they feel it deeply. Until now, there has been no official clarification from HYB nor from the two directly. But perhaps, even this silence is a form of communication. Because in a world where everything can be said, Sometimes the most painful thing is not to say did I s this just a momentary misunderstanding? Or is it precisely the harbinger of a major shift that will change the face of BTS as we know it? And as the world awaits, one thing keeps reverberating. Where will Taehyung be when Jungkook finally returns? Can silence scream? The second night in Los Angeles answered him with a sense of urgency because just as the lights of Sunset Boulevard dimmed slowly, a new echo shook the hearts of millions of ARMY. A blurred photo of Taehyung appeared on the timeline, visibly staring at his phone screen in the lobby of the Beverly Regent Hotel while wearing an oversized black hoodie, as if deliberately hiding from the gaze of truth-hungry eyes. And even more slicing, in the background is reflected the shadow of a professional vlog camera, complete with a state-of-the-art shotgun mic, similar to the popularized brand Nearstream, US as a mandatory weapon of creators 2025. Isn't that exactly the device Jungkook was wearing a few hours earlier? Are the two actually in the same room, separated not by a wall, but by something much more fragile, trust? The next second, the hashtag where is Taehyung soared like a meteor across the world's trends. Not even 5 minutes later, another name followed to the top. Hashtag Jungkook why so silent. Two pillars of emotion, like magnetic poles that pull and push each other at the same time, entangle the fandom in a vortex of questions wilder than ever. If they're right in the same hotel, why not just knock on each other's room doors and say hello together on live? Is there a new contract, or even more stressful, a confidentiality clause that forces the two to keep their distance in the interests of future projects? Anonymous sources within the label who have rarely been mistaken whisper that plans for a 2026 reunion album are entering the concept synchronization stage, and creative differences are starting to stick out sharply. Jungkook, inspired by Justin Bieber's swag, allegedly encourages a dreamy yet experimental R&B pop sound, complete with minimalist vocal layering. Taehyung is obsessed with film noir-style soul jazz orchestration, something he has been advocating since promoting his solo single 2 years ago. Anonymous sources within the label who have rarely been mistaken whisper that plans for a 2026 reunion album are entering the concept synchronization stage, and creative differences are starting to stick out sharply. Jungkook, inspired by Justin Bieber's swag, allegedly encourages a dreamy yet experimental R&B pop sound, complete with minimalist vocal layering. Taehyung is obsessed with film noir-style soul jazz orchestration, something he's been advocating since promoting his solo single 2 years ago. This clash of visions, the source said, has been felt for a long time, but only broke out when the live broadcast schedule was decided unilaterally by Jungkook's digital team. Had the news been true, wouldn't the decision to perform solo in LA have been a subtle statement of power, an emotional checkmate that forced Taehyung to swallow his anger in silence? But silent stories never stand alone. There are always echoes trying to interpret, but silent stories never stand alone. There are always echoes trying to interpret. A hotel staff member said Taehyung had booked a 10-person conference room exactly 2 hours before Jungkook's live performance began. For what? Emergency meeting with whom? Meanwhile, CCTV footage which was leaked and circulated on closed-door forums showed a Jimin-like figure entering the same floor just before midnight. Is the friend trying to mediate? Or is his existence a new fuel in this drama, considering he is Jungkook's military partner who just shared the comeback spotlight, further into a corner of downtown L.A., the Westlake recording studio? Iconic for Michael Jackson's album suddenly turned off its signage lights at 3 in the morning, something rare except for the world-class artist's private sessions. The paparazzi on guard swore they saw a black van without a license plate briefly stop, the doors slide open, then a tall man further into a corner of downtown L.A., the Westlake recording studio. Iconic for Michael Jackson's album suddenly turned off its signage lights at 3 in the morning, something rare except for the world-class artist's private sessions. The paparazzi on guard swore they saw a black van without a license plate briefly stop, the doors slide open, then a tall man in cargo pants and a varsity jacket, resembling Taehyung in silhouette, jumped down, followed by a producer known to be close to Bieber. A moment later, the vehicle drove off again, leaving another question. Could it be that Taehyung immediately immersed himself in the solo recording as a form of protest? If so, does that mean the microphone war has begun? Not just about audio quality, but about who gets heard the most. While the world sucked in theory after theory, Jungkook broke the silence with a 16-second Insta story, a background inked with a purple sunset, lyrics that read, "I'm going through CH." While the world sucked in theory after theory, Jungkook broke the silence with a 16-second Insta story, a background inked with a purple sunset, lyrics that read, "I'm going through changes," and a headphone emoji. That's it. But thousands of speculations exploded like fireworks. One line of Bieber's old lyrics is picked up again, parsed every syllable. What change does he mean? Change of formation? Change of heart? Or a change in the definition of we in BTS's DNA? Behind the digital noise, an audio engineer who had set up Jungkook's microphone behind the digital noise, an audio engineer who had set up Jungkook's microphone on the day of the live opening of the closed forum, admitted that he was surprised because a series of pre-input channels had been prepared. For 2 vocals with very different EQ characters, obviously one high tone, one baritone. Why 2? Even though Jungkook performed alone. Was the last second before the go live button was pressed, Taehyung's channel was accidentally muted? If so, who pressed mute? Jungkook himself, the manager, or even the label to keep certain scenarios, question after question breeds fatigue, but it is precisely there that drama finds its breath. Because every fatigue breeds a hunger for certainty, and every hunger demands an. And in Indonesia, the land where the army moves like tropical waves, netizens began to question the timing. If it's true that Taehyung is preparing a big collaboration, why should it coincide with Jungkook's phase change from the military to the stage world? Doesn't this kind of timing erode the value of togetherness that BTS has always been proud of? Instead, supporters of the marketing strategy theory cheer that this may be part of a two-stage viral campaign. First, it provokes a sense of loss. Second, it presents a surprise reunion that breaks streaming records. But who can bet when fans' emotions are at stake? Even the most cunning promotion mastermind knows the fire of attachment can turn boomerang if left burning for too long without explanation. Amid the speculation, a senior army official from Seoul uploaded a long thread summarizing the history of Taehyung Jungkook's friendship. From the joke "Iamuk" at the 2015 variety show to a trembling hug after the final concert of Love Yourself, Speak Yourself in Seoul 2019. The thread wasn't just nostalgia, it was written evidence that their bond crossed time, storms, and hundreds of stages. Is one silent broadcast, then, enough to tear down such a huge building of memories? Or is it precisely this moment when the foundation is tested, in order to stand more firmly for the new era of BTS 2026? The silence still hadn't broken, but crackling noises began to be heard from behind the industrial curtain. A K-media journalist leaked a draft of a press conference that HYB was supposedly putting together. The content of the opening paragraph is surprising. We appreciate the concern of the army and the public for the creative dynamics of our artists. The individual exploration process is part and parcel of the group journey. As soon as the line leaked, the reactions exploded. Some relief, some anxiety, some anger. Is individual exploration a euphemism for disunity? Or merely an affirmation of freedom of expression? Without an official explanation, the interpretation became king, and the king ruled the kingdom of rumors with an iron fist. So when Jungkook's biggest fanbase account on Twitter changed the header to a picture of a gold microphone that read, Solo Era 2.0, while Taehyung's fanbase put up digital art of the jazz singer's silhouette in purple spotlight, the aesthetic divorce became more obvious. One echoes modern pop, the other exudes a retro feel. Two worlds in a group, spinning in an orbit that feels more and more distant. But behind the scenes, whispers call August 11th, Jungkook's birthday, a point of peace. He said, a secret duet performance is brewing for the mini-concert stage in Venice Beach, broadcast exclusively via paid streaming. Really? Or is this just the hope of fans dancing on the edge of reality? The emotional stakes don't stop at slicing on one side. If these rumors are false, mass disappointment could damage goodwill ahead of BTS's 2026 album promotion. But if true, wouldn't this whole drama ultimately read as a giant marketing scenario, a cinema of fandom that forces the hearts of millions to swing between hope and anxiety for the sake of blushing engagement charts? Is it worth feeling processed in such a way for numbers? Or is it precisely here that the art of modern marketing, creating real stories, letting the public become passionate co-writer? It was at this point that ARMY's mind was dragged into a maelstrom of moral questions. Where's the limit to loyalty to the official narrative and loyalty to personal emotions? When the screen of a mobile phone turns into a glass window where